Hey guys, and welcome to the stream. I know it's a little bit impromptu. I originally said I was going to start at 7, but it turns out that I suck at scheduling. That wasn't a surprise, to be honest. So I'm going to be doing one part for about an hour and a half now, and then probably the other, maybe hour and a half to 2 hour part, probably around 9 or something of that nature. Like the description says, this stream is going to go over a small animation that I made a little more in depth. I'm going to talk a little bit about the model as you see here on screen, and I'm also going to talk about the setup that I did to bring this model then into Houdini using an Alembic cache, and how I went about sort of just prepping it for, excuse me. Ooh, sorry about that. A little bit more about how I prepped it and what I want to do with these cloth and the hair simulation as well. I don't think we'll accomplish all of that tonight, and definitely not in this video, but we'll definitely be in a much better place. So with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the model that I used. Made Sand, the FEDB enhanced by Nate Nestler version. Pretty good model. There are some topology issues. I didn't go about fixing them. Obviously, with this being in Blender 2.49 and then opening it in Blender 2.7, whatever, some things broke, but for the most part, it's a really solid model. I think at some point, probably after this project, I'm going to go and re-rig it. I'm just not a fan of some of the controls and the way that they work. They just don't really make sense. And the facial control system is broken, but this is still a really wonderful model, and it was a pleasure to work with. So with that, we're going to move into Blender. I have a lot of different versions of it. We're going to start with the most recent one. This is the one that is animated and that will render. I have another version that you saw, probably SimBody, and I will get to that in a second. So this is, nothing fancy, just a simple animation. You'll notice that the skirt is, well, broken. It was originally animated. It did have its own armature. I just decided to forego it and said, you know what, this is a good excuse to learn to do cloth, so we're going to see how that turns out. And of course, prepping this model did have its own set of challenges as well. If you look down here, the feet controls are all over the place. And that's one of the problems that I have with it. There needs to be one main foot controller. Preferably it rotates at the ankle, and then a toe controller that doesn't necessarily control, it should just be a vector that controls the rotation of the actual toe. I don't think it should control some of the other rotation aspects of the foot, because at least the way this was set up, it's really broken. So with that, we're going to pause. Oh, excuse me, guys. And we're going to go a little more in depth. So if we actually grab this kyo, or not kyo, the, oops, get out of pose mode here. If we grab that sort of like apron front area and just set that aside, this is one of the problems that I have with the model. This is all fine and dandy if I were animating this by hand, but as you can see, there's no geometry to actually collide with there. I originally thought I was going to just fix that in Houdini, but to be honest, I couldn't figure out how. There was no simple like bridge polygon tool. They were two separate pieces. So I simply duplicated the file, deleted everything that wasn't the body, and the parts that were going to be animated, and just connected them together. All that this is necessary for is that collision area that would be set up in Houdini. It doesn't even matter that all this back stuff is like tessellated in different colors, because that's not even going to be seen in the final render anyways. So with that, let's move into the Houdini part. This is the interesting one. I probably spent, I don't know, maybe 2.5, 3 hours getting this all set up. Well, to be honest, there's not too much to talk about. I basically imported the Alembic cache, added point groups to the different types of things I'm going to be simulating. So the apron is its own point group. The skirt is its own point group. The little ribbons on the shoulder and legs, those are their own point group. Even the like back ribbon, the kyo, I believe it's called, that's also its own point group. And we can actually see that here in the split components. This is simply imported as an Alembic cache, set the frame rate to 12 because that's kind of what I animated on. Definitely needed to load it as unpacked so I would get access to every point. Then I just went through separating each part out, selecting my ribbons, removing everything that's not the, ribbons. And then I also set a group to represent where these vertices will be pinned. That might have been for not, but it's better to be organized than not. And then of course the final out. This merge down here that connects them all back together, that's for just visualization. Like I said, this model's not going to get seen. So we kind of did the same thing again with the apron, just to show off what each of them is. There's the apron part, there's the skirt part, and then this is actually just the head. It's a little morbid. This is the head with no hair, and it's just that. Problems that I'm going to encounter for sure. I think the simulation is going to break and freak out on the first few frames of solving. You're not supposed to have cloth intersect its collision geometry in the rest position. I didn't think about that, and so I might actually add in like some negative frames so we can start a bit early, or even just add in frame 0 and start in a rest pose, like just a standing pose. Excuse me, to let the cloth settle down. Alternatively, I might just, I don't know, I'd love to be able to add negative frames, but I don't think it'll let me. Yeah. So I might just time shift the animation forward or something. I'll figure out a way to get it reset back to its, sort of default state, so I can not have the cloth just freak out. Okay, so we're gonna turn that merge back on. And then if we go back up to, if we go back up to object level, all that's next is just importing the individual things. I need to make sure that my transform is into this object because I'm going to do stuff with it, but there's not really anything else to do. So, import the skirt. The collision body, of course, is not visible, but this is that same thing before, just without the ribbons and skirt. This is where, this is what's going to be used in the DOPS, the dynamic operators, as my actual static, deforming collision geometry. And again, there's just the Q on the back. Animated body, which is, the head. I did go ahead and make a group for the scalp. And, the rest of the body itself. So turn that back on. And of course we have our apron. And then the little ribbons. So where I'm going to go first is we're going to select this collision body, and in my cloth tab I want to make this a surface collider, right? And I'm just going to name this, I might have the hair in a separate DOP, we'll see, just for organization. Cloth, we'll just call this cloth sim, and yeah, that is exactly what it is. This static, oops, don't disable. There's really nothing fancy about it. We're just using a surface collision. We're displaying it. We're using the object transform and deforming geometry. So with that, let's go in and make these ribbons cloth objects. Oh, why do I not have any polygons? I think I have to unpack this first. This might complain that there's no pack geometry, so it's not finding anything to, yeah, no pack primitives. Okay. I mean, these are definitely all polygons. All right, to the documentation. Actually, we're just going to look it up. Houdini. Object has no polygons. I honestly don't know why. That's not really what I want. I don't need to... Not quite finding what I want. Okay, well, let's go back in the geometry spreadsheet and just reason through this. Those are points. Maybe they need to be primitives. So let's go back up into the split character components. Since I first clicked on the ribbons, we'll just start there. Maybe these should be primitives. Although that means I think that I'm going to have to go and reselect everything. Yeah. Because that. Okay. I think that's what I'm going to have to do. I can't really attribute promote this either. That's a bummer. Okay, but that's fine. This will be quick. Whoa. These are treated as one primitive. Okay. I'm just going to kind of tweak settings in here. Gosh, that's a bummer because that's a little bit of wasted work that I may not be able to reclaim. Not really sure. Come back in my geometry spreadsheet. Okay, well, at least they're kind of named. Although, not well and certainly not correctly. Damn. What a bummer. Okay. So we're going to come back into this ribbon group and we're going to view it. But, okay, so I originally selected them as a point group when they really should be primitives. So that's silly. I'll still have to redo the pin group, but that's going to probably be the same points because if I remember from the documentation correctly, although I think it's just going to ask me to manually select them, so I'm not going to bother with making a group for that again, since I already did technically. Thankfully, the geometry is closed and connected, so it's not a hassle to go through and have to reselect everything. I'm honestly, oh jeez, I'm honestly a little bummed still. Right, press enter, and now we have all the polygons. That should be my ribbons. So if we come here and remove, we've deleted just the ribbons. Cool. I'm not gonna bother. Wait. Oh, of course. So the pin group looks like it's behaving fine. So I guess I'm just gonna leave it. I mean, I'm not gonna go out of my way to delete it. I'll just have to be wary. Okay. So this would be a primitive group. So we'll select it. I think at this point it would probably be wise for me to go up a level and actually make sure that it's still treating these as polygons when I bring them back in. So let's do that. Let's go into the ribbons. My transformers into this object. Go to my geometry spreadsheet, and okay, looks like I have polygons now. So we're fine. Or, well, I mean, we're not going to know that we're fine until we get that far. But that's not the point. Interesting. It's very interesting. Alas, there are no worries. So we're going to select my apron group. Change this to primitives. And then we're going to select all of those that are connected, hit enter, that's the new group, remove everything that's not the ribbon, and it looks like we've done that successfully. I don't think that, oh, it is still even keeping the points, and I think that's because when I go and delete all of these and save this, it's still like the same point order. So that's fine. So switch this to primitives. This is the skirt group. Yeah, it's weird. It's just choosing all sorts of random numbers. All right. The top part and the bottom part. They're actually two separate parts. It's interesting. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense, but I just wish that they would have been connected. Save our skirt. We have the pin groups. I don't need to do anything about the hair, I believe, which is funny. Same for the body. Those are fine. All right, so let's try this again. Let's come into you and make you a cloth object. Cool. And it even went and pulled the name, so I don't need to change this. Now, if I play this now, I know exactly what's going to happen. They're just going to fall down because they're not attached to the body, and that's the next step, which I actually need to make sure I know how to do correctly. It is to just take the arbitrary vertices that I've decided, where the ribbon's going to be glued to the body, and then it's going to just not move those points and stick them to my collision body. So what I don't need to see is the skirt, character, the apron, even the animated body I don't care to see. I just want to see how it's going to deal with the collisions. So we'll go up one level into DOPS. I guess I should go ahead and add in a ground plane. Actually, I could type that up myself. Oops. Escape. I'm just gonna go ahead and hit ground plane. Just because that saves me a little bit of time. It's not necessary right now, but I know I'm gonna use it later on. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a, a little bit bigger of a size so we don't have to worry about that later. So we're gonna, what is the hotkey to play my, oh, okay, I was playing it. It was just cooking. Yeah, it is, if we look down here, behaving exactly as I anticipated. They fall off. Oh. That is interesting. What the heck? They just sort of freaked out there. I'm not really sure what that was about. So let's go back. Huh. They scale up and do all sorts of weird stuff. They're also going through my collision bounds. So I don't care to display the geometry. I would rather see my collision radius. What the hell? Okay. We need this to be concave as much as that will suck for computations. So I'm not really sure what it's kind of dealing with. But I suppose, yikes, it's kind of going through there, isn't it? Even if I could turn it down or up, it's not really going to make a difference. It's going to be going through that no matter what. Not really sure what the dealio is with, sorry about to sneeze. don't want to do it into the mic. I'm not really sure what the deal is with that, but we have to recook our simulation anyways. So let's do that. It's still not colliding with it as it should. And it's still freaking out over there. So I almost wonder, because the ribbons are still animated themselves, that they might not be set up correctly. So let's go back to first frame and let's look at what we can see in our ribbons. Initialize behavior, don't really care about that right now. Deformation. Collisions. I don't need to fracture it. Yeah, there's nothing. I might have to take this back into Blender and set some of this up that way. That might be easier. Save some computational time. I'm actually a little bit bummed about that, to be honest with you. Huh. Well, I might as well just read it on the attached to body and attach to body. What object you want to constrain, and then press enter. Select the points to constrain on the selected cloth object and press enter. Seems easy enough. So for giggles, I'm just gonna say attach to body, select the cloth object. That, press enter. Now select the cloth points. Let's just say wireframe ghost. Is there any way to... I also don't want to display proxy geometry right now, so I can... What the heck? Visualization, turn off my collision radius. And then I'm just gonna sort of box select all of these vertices. They look like what I want to constrain. And we're just gonna shift drag to add to our selection. Yeah, these are the pin groups that I, ended up making, but there's not like a way to pass that in anywhere, and that's kind of lame. Or there might be, and I just don't know how. So we're gonna face this way and just move aside. Select all of those, add that little one in the corner. It might take me a while to just get these set up, but if it does, then at least I should have some direction on how I can do the rest. Okay, so now we've got the vertices that I want to pin. Select the cloth points you wish to attach. Press enter to accept selection. Now select the dynamics object to accept the selection. Does that count? The dynamics object to attach to just display geometry. Okay, so I do have it selected. Now select polygons on the selected object if you wish to narrow the scope of the attachment constraint. Well, I suppose it shouldn't be too hard to think, okay. Okay, I'm just gonna hit enter. I don't know. Oh. So cloth add constraint. Where did it put that? Let's press L to layout. Why is that down there at the bottom? That doesn't make any sense. And now my solver is aired out. Failed to process constraints for new solver objects. Yeah, I don't think that this should be down there. I'm gonna have to do some research. I think that's gonna be what it wants. You're complaining. Friends. That's a bummer. I wish I could just... But I don't have any like options to change with this really, so... Maybe you don't go there. Maybe you go after. Nope. It doesn't like this constraint. I mean, this has to go in a pre-solve somewhere, right? Because that's the output. There, nope. I don't know anywhere that I can put this to get it to work. Can't go after the merge. Probably can't go into the merge. Yeah, because those are two different types of data, so of course not. This is a tough one. Let's go to the documentation. Cloth attach constraint. Can be used to control which simulation objects are modified by this node. Any objects connected through this input and which match the group parameter field will be modified. If this input is not connected, this node can be used in conjunction with an applied data node, or can be used as an input into another data node. This data output can be connected to an applied data DOP or connected directly to the data input of another node. This doesn't really give me the information that I'm looking for. But you might. Well, I wonder, what if we just look that up? Yeah, add, apply data. All right, so it's not applied any data yet, and then it freaks out. It's the wrong type, so it says. If this goes anywhere else, it fails. Although it is still showing the constraint, but it's not cooking. Now it's airing out because of a bad reference. I suppose it's not really going to matter where I put it. Yeah, it's not going to do anything with it because it's aired out, because it can't solve it, because it doesn't know what to do. So I don't think that I understand why I'm getting that. I'm going to save this, and we're going to move into Blender. I think means heck. I'll probably just pin all those vertices where there's no hip, and that'll be fine. Because I've got this, so I'll just come and join this, pull it out. I'm not really gonna, I'll have to see how I want like a wind force and stuff to affect it, but whatever. Joe is the term, not kill. Okay, so make this a cloth. Cool. We can pin it, and I need to set vertex groups. So what vertex groups do I have? Why does this have all those? Right? Fair enough. Just gonna zoom in that. I don't. Okay, on. Turn down my clipping. Pardon. Gosh, I'm really bummed because I was so excited to try out the Houdini cloth solver. There's got to be something that I just didn't set up right. There can't be any other friggin'. Okay, so let's Control L that. Box selecting. That, coolio. And we're just gonna come around and do the other thing. Boy, is it gonna be difficult either way. New group. Pin. Assign. Deselect. Select. Deselect. Select. Okay, so we should be good to go. See again. Ah, damn. Okay. Oops. Here we've got this cloth. Pin it by the jump it pin. That's fine. I don't think that I need to do that. Well, I probably should. I'll just set the preset to like denim or something. I would like my... So part of the reason of why I wanted to also... Oh wait, no, I can have more steps. And I can sort of multiply it up and down. Okay, so just kidding. So we're going to make a new... We're just going to call it 4.6. Alright, let's see what happens. Oh, I have to go and make this... You know what, though? Okay, that... See, and this is what I was expecting out of Houdini. To be completely honest, I was expecting to be able to say, alright, this is the group to pin, and it would just kind of work. Obviously, there's more to it than that. There's something that I, haven't done. Otherwise, it would, work. I don't know what it is that I haven't done, but there's something. Okay. It's gonna also make you a collision object. It's really all of the legs can also be collision. And yeah, that is for sure gonna break this now, so that'll be interesting to see. And then we'll have some freaking cloth on cloth action. That is very expensive. But if I already have the deformations and stuff baked out, then I guess it's not really gonna make a difference when I, import it as a limbic and then just do the hair in Houdini, because I love Houdini's hair tools. They are wonderful. Alright, so overall stiffness, make it a little bit stiffer. Like, it's accurate, but stylistically it's not what I want. Let's go with leather. Those might behave the best. Let's see now. It's probably going to take noticeably slower to bake through now. So once I get around to making all the particles, and doing the physics of that in Houdini, I will probably then come back to Blender to like do the wind and stuff, because I want to get that set up before I even try and like stylize it. I would just like to, at least have this motion set up. That does kind of change up the schedule, but that's not bad. So we are absolutely just gonna, yeah, this is exciting. This is not as threaded as I would like it to be either. I'm not using but like half my CPU. Oh, it has broken. Interesting. Wait, why was pinning turned off? Ah, heck. Come back, task manager. Okay, we're gonna stop this. Nope, nope. Well, that's friggin' why, because it wasn't pinned. Okay, I don't know why that got turned off. I feel like one's the only stiffness that it needs, right? I have no idea. My end is 330. I'm going to set that, but I'm not going to necessarily go and bake it. Cloth collision. We can let it collide with itself. Those are frilly and not quite as important. I don't really care about any of those. Gosh, I really just wish it could all be the same force. That's what's going to be a problem here. I can live with that. That's not, that's not a big deal, but it's annoying, for sure. Well, there's not going to be a need to bake out all 330 frames yet, so we're going to just say bake out 50, and then we'll do that. We'll go and bake it, and it's sitting up there in the top little right. Just kidding, not left. Almost said left. You thought you had me, but you didn't. You did not have me. Or maybe you did. Or maybe it doesn't matter. Ooh. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah, this is a bummer. Like I said, the hardest part about this is really just going to be matching the forces. And I know that Houdini deals in real world units, and I think that Blender does, although that doesn't really mean anything. You know, units are kind of arbitrary in different software because they're going to treat them differently in regards to like scene scale, and I don't believe these have the same scene scale. So it'll be a fun back and forth and tweaking and seeing what does and doesn't work. Not really much more to say on that. Well, than that. Okay, so that is about finished with its bake. Alright, cool. So that has finished baking. Let us take some time to play it. Let's see what it looks like. Hopefully playback shouldn't be too slow. Oh, what the heck? It's all weird and twisted. So maybe turn off self-collisions. You know what? That's probably for the best. That's probably what caused it to forget we're just going to go forward by frame. Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't freaking know what it's doing. So we'll free the bake. Don't self-collide. Maybe turn up the quality by 1. Minimum distance between collisions. Okay, repel. Okay. Yeah, let's try that again. Let's bake it out. Yeah. So we'll have to say sorry about, probably this next portion of it where I can't really fast forward, real time because this isn't pre-recorded. I'm streaming this. To be honest, even if I wasn't streaming, it wouldn't necessarily go faster. The software doesn't seem to be threaded very well. It's only taking up half my CPU. It's not taking up all of it, and that's a little bit of a disappointment, if I am honest. I'm pretty sure at some point that I've read somewhere that Blender's getting like a revamped cloth soft body solver, or they're doing something to revamp it. I'm not really sure on that though, to be honest. Ugh, jeez. Once I get the collisions on everything right, I'm just gonna go and I wish there was a way to like friggin' turn it off, because I'd like to not have to go and cache everything out. I'd like to be able to just be like, okay, this works, turn it off, move on to the next part, and then okay, so let's play back. Alt A is it? What the heck? Oh, that's hilarious. It looks like it's having some problems with the normals. But maybe it could be a little bit stiffer. I don't know. Actually, I'm kind of liking where it's going. Everything's sort of freaking out. So let's free bake. Let's come down here to these ones. Leg cloth bits. That's hilarious. So I'm going to have to go into edit mode there. Jeez. These really should be on their own damn layer. Oh well, this is fine. So just sort of box select that, kind of come over to here and go box select all that. Okay, that looks good to me, so we're going to make it a group. Leg, cloth, bit, pin, assign, deselect, select, deselect. All right, out of there, hit Z again. My legs are collision objects, so we're going to come into here, enable cloth, set it to leather, right? Yeah. Set the preset to leather. My collision quality on 3. We're going to pin it. Use the leg cloth bit pin. Disk cache it. Also set this on to 330. Oops. Although I'm going to take that back. Let's set it to 50 for now. Bake this one as well to make sure that these are good to go. So again, this is just going to take a couple of minutes. Lucky for me, it's not incredibly high poly. I've done things before and admittedly stupid because I didn't know what I was doing, where I was like, why is this taking so long? This is stupid. Well, it's because I was stupid and was trying to do like an insanely high amount of collisions that I didn't need, with just all sorts of like weird stuff going on. Whew, let the fun begin, am I right? Oh, goodness. Although with this, that means I'm not gonna have to like go and have everything separated out in a limbic. I mean, I guess the arms I probably will when I get around to doing the particle parts of the effects, but some of that stuff I may not be able to stream just because I'm gonna have to also be watching loads of videos and doing loads of my own research. Although that is something that we will get to when we come to it. Hmm. Alright, so let's see what this one looks like. Okay, I like it. I have to Alt A. Oops, not Alt A. Go. What was the keyboard to the shortcut to jump back? Shift Control down arrow. If you can remember all these, you're a trooper. If you cannot remember all of them, that's okay. I actually like the way that that's behaving a lot. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. So I'm going to free that bake. Free all bakes. And then oops. 330. Here, set this one to 330 as well. We're going to save this. And at this point, I am going to actually pause the stream um, because I'm going to bake all dynamics and it's probably going to be like at least 20 minutes. There's not a point in just sitting here and not saying anything for 20 minutes or repeating myself like, yeah, sorry, it's going to take forever. So with that, I'm going to just let it bake. And I will see you guys in part two. Part two, I guess we're going to be back in Blender and we're going to be finishing up the cloth on here. So we're going to tackle the skirt, the apron, and the Jill on her back. I'm not going to do the hair in Blender. I don't have anything against Blender hair. I personally prefer the Houdini hair tools a lot more because they just sort of work. So I'm going to go back up to my object level. There we go. Turn that off. Oh, turn back. Smooth shaded on. So if we went into, turn my animated body on, and let's say that we want to turn on hair. Hair. Kind of bummed. Well, okay, there's a grooming tool set. What the heck? What in the world? All right. Select this. Select my scalp group. And then let's add fur. Press enter to continue. Now select an animated skin geometry. I'm just gonna hit enter. It's gonna have to go through and cook everything, and it's gonna make them like over every single like a follicle, like all over her head, which kind of looks funny. She's got a hairy face. But we should be able to come in here. Okay, because I lied. Now, okay. So, oh goodness. Oh goodness me. That's really not what I wanted to do. I think we're gonna have to go and manually create guides. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I'm not trying to dive into VOPs here, so we're gonna blow that up. And I want to create guides. Create a guide current on a skin geometry and manipulate the guides of another object. Generate hair. Okay, I watched a video on this a while ago. I'm going to have to come back and do it. Let you. Oh. Hey, you know what? Let's just draw hair on here. Select a geometry or fur. Well, I guess I could just like separate out the scalp and put it in its own object. That seems the easy way out though. It seems like I should be able to like sort of know what I need to do to get hair going. Well, I'm not gonna actually I guess I can. Yeah, we'll try that. We'll try that. So I'm gonna control X these. Which I'm gonna control because I do actually want these back, but only the head. Gonna control C, Geo, character, scalp, just to keep everything separate. It occurred to me last night that there's absolutely no reason that I cannot just put all this stuff in a subnet for the character. So remove not scalp and delete non-selected and then scalp group. Whoa. Okay, what the heck? Now you're not freaking deleting anything. Oh, you know what? It's probably going to be difficult. There we go. I was like, you're not deleting anything. And then it occurred to me that the snow was still turned on. Okay, so with that in place, so the reason though that this is still going to suck is now I still have to have like collision geometry everywhere else, right? But I guess if the hair is its own object, then whatever. So we're actually going to turn that back on, select my scalp, and then can we generate hair? Exotic group nodes output. No groom object selected. Okay, well you see the problem here is that I have no idea what I'm doing. That's funny. Okay. Can I create guides? Okay, cool. There we go. All right, so here's my groom object. And now we can just like increase the length. Look, now she has an afro. Although I would personally prefer to be able to like still add hair in that area. Well, I think that's fine. Set a length of 1 for now. Sort of select how density is. I love dense hair, and I know that that's literally going to destroy my computer, but hair just gets me going, man. It is so much fun. No input groom. Okay. So now let's see. Interactively groom the hair in screen space. Okay, let's do this. What does that do? Ooh. This doesn't really look like it's doing anything. I'm gonna have to take some time to actually just going to delete that node. Put you back to where you were. Go up in here. Cut, smooth, lift. So what does screen look like? Okay. So this is like gonna be weird and annoying because I'm doing it in screen space. I'm still gonna have to like go and like clump the hair. This is just kind of like a really rough shape. I feel like hair is one of those things you can get away with not being perfectly symmetrical. So I'm not worried about like mirroring the brush. But yeah, this is definitely eating my CPU for breakfast. It definitely also does not help that I yeah, we're gonna have a fun time just like getting this mess of hair just down. Ooh, yikes. Oh, what did I just do? Yeah, this should be fun. So if I do get to hair next session, it's probably going to entail a lot of this. So I'm gonna just like drag the part line around there or something. And then yeah, it's all sorts of broken. So I'm gonna go through fixing it and clumping it together. And again, it doesn't help that my computer's incredibly slow, at least slower than what it really should be for the kind of work that I do. Look, see, she already looks like a cutie pie. Look at that hair. Of course, it's far from done, but I don't know. Hair is one of those like things you just can't overlook it. Like eyes, like it's one of those subtle details that you just have to get right because it adds so much personality. I think. I'm also kind of crazy though, so take that for what it's worth. At some point, I am gonna have to like decrease the size of this brush so I can like get up under here and not select stuff at the part. Ooh. Seriously, I could do this for hours. Okay, so let's drag you up. Kind of. Okay, now I'm starting to get more than what I want, so I better turn down my radius. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go through and like still fix the part. Oh, this is fine. Look at that. Don't look at the back. Don't look at the back. Just look at it from this one angle that I've been brushing it, and it'll look meh. Oh man, this is great. Okay, so turn this down some more and just kind of drag you. Come on. I believe in you. I feel like somehow there should be a more like natural way to do it because what I'm really doing is just like pulling all the segments. I want to like run my fingers through it and just like okay, here's the part, and then kind of bring some of it down that way and some of it down the other way. It's kind of difficult to get it to look how it should. Just like fucking mash. Ah. Yeah, at this point, okay, I thought I wasn't gonna get off, but I still got some time to kill, so we're just gonna be grooming the hair since I'm probably still waiting on a cloth bake. Yeah, it's about halfway through. Okay, kind of getting somewhere. So, this is definitely like really only the first step though, because I'm just kind of like saying, okay, here's the basic like form of the hair, but we're gonna go through and like really nail this shape in with the other tools because they've got loads of brushes. And I can like clump certain segments together so I can get like that's kind of how I'm gonna do the bangs, right? Because if you think about my own hair, I do sort of like have this kind of like solid clump, and then I might have a few clumps in the back and stuff. And this is gonna look something very much similar. Also, I need to use my pen the right way. I would love to do like long hair, but I just don't have time for that. Ah, come on. Whoa. Dog, what are you doing? No. There we go. There we go. And we're working in screen space mode. Fortunately, the bummer of it being that it is screen space mode, so there's gonna have to be a lot of going back and forth. I do want to bring some of it in. Okay, I want to bring it inside of her head. That's hilarious. But also fine because I'll just kind of tackle it from like a little bit different of an angle and just sort of get it all out. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. We're looking pretty decent. Good would be a premature celebration. Okay. So yeah, a lot of it's like literally inside of her face. Yeah, so we're gonna have to, you know, this will be really weird to do, but we'll just get out of there. Okay. It would be, oh jeez, man. It would be incredibly nice if it wouldn't let me, like if I could set up some predefined collision geometry or something. I guess in those areas I can honestly just use the lift. Ooh, whoops. I can just use the lift brush to like kind of lift it up in that area. That's where some of it's going. Okay. So now we have to come tame all this down here. I also would like to increase the length of this a little bit more. But it's definitely starting to come together. I wasn't expecting to get to hair today, but I'm actually glad that I did, because I was able to figure more stuff out. And it looks like we're about finished. So when that finishes, we will hop over into Blender and look at that bake. Give it a little bit more, like a sort of natural, organic look. Yeah, we're gonna be, oops. I want to Control Z that. Okay, I've worked a lot on that side, but this side's still pretty rough, so let's just kind of tackle it from like, maybe this angle. I definitely also still want to try and get some of that down. We're just gonna be pulling it over. Pretty decent job. You stay down. You get over. We're gonna, ooh, not that small. That should be Okay, cool. Sorry, those were gonna bother the heck out of me until I got them taken care of. Well, there's still like a few, but whatever. Alright, alright, alright. And we'll just knock it down, clean it up. Cool. Probably stand actually, so like come here at the part and just maybe make it a little more defined. Oh, no. Go. Just gonna kind of paint over and up. I feel like I'm doing this very inefficiently. Like, there should probably be a better way to do this. But this might be the third time that I've ever done hair in Houdini, so... Okay, kind of straighten that out. Kind of bump that area up a little bit. Some waviness to it now. I do want to come and bump up the part. It's defined and separated, but it looks a little bare. So we're gonna sort of bring them back closer together now to like make it feel less barren. Come over here. Looks like my bake is about finished, so just the last little bit here. Yeah, we're gonna have to go through and clean up a whole lot of hair. There's so much hair inside the eyeballs. I don't even understand how that happens. Kind of drag it. Kind of just bring it all together. The flow. And pretty much just there's a whole friggin' bare area right there, and I think that that's like, yeah, that's all that. I don't know how that even like got up in there, but damn. See if we can't kind of like bring that up and out or something. Okay, so we're just trying to like push these hair follicles that fell up under the scalp back out from under the scalp because it was looking pretty bald in a few areas, and that's just because that, you know, and we'll have to come back in and sort of bring that hair down. As long as we're careful, we will not get a whole bunch of hair back under the scalp. Sort of pull it down and out, down, out, down, and out. These ones especially. I feel like I should be consulting with a hairstylist because the only thing I know how to do to my hair is freaking comb it over, man. Who am I to like try and impart some form of character and style into this lush head of hair when I don't even know what to do with my own, man? Okay, probably as good a stopping point as any. Yeah, it's no longer bald because it's not missing any of that hair. I'm not gonna touch this anymore for the time being. But look, we got a super frizzy head of hair. Look at that. Although there's still like hair in the eye. Just pretend that you can't see that, okay? I also need to come through and like clear some, maybe clear an area for the ears or something. But I'm okay with this. Definitely gonna style it, comb it, clump it up a little bit, lift it up a little bit. What else can I actually do? Curved vect. I can set direction. I don't want to frizz it. Yeah, those are pretty similar. Okay, so we're gonna save. And let's come in here and let's look at what we got. So, Blender controls and then Houdini controls and then Blender controls. Okay, let's see what we're dealing with here. Trying to find a good angle. Alt A for animation player. Everything's flickering because of like normals and stuff. Wow. These need to be stiffer. Because they're moving around a lot and I don't like that. I mean, it's realistic, but I don't like it. Also, there's so many, like all these broken normals and stuff. My display is just a bit of a wreck. I think that'll be fixed when I actually like bring it out of Houdini and do all that. Okay, so let's free all bakes and let's, it hires more smooth, less jiggling. Yeah, it was jiggling a lot. So let's double that on those and those. Mass. It's heavier, should take a little more force to go, so I'm just going to set the mass of these to 1. Structural overall stiffness. So let's increase this to maybe like 125. And I don't want it to bend quite as much. Wrinkle coefficient. Hires less smaller, but more big wrinkles. Oh, maybe I want that. Maybe I want that higher. Let's set this to 200. I'm changing too many variables, but I kind of don't have time. I'm just going to increase that up a little bit. Velocity damping. I don't think I need to do anything there. So my air is 1.25. So 200. So mass 125, 201. And then this also needs to have dynamic mesh because it does need to respect the transformations here. Although I think it was, so I think that we're fine. All right, well, I'm going to save that, and we're going to bake all again. So at this point, I am going to go ahead and log off on part 2. We'll start streaming later tonight. At this point, like I said, I'm just going to bake it, so we're going to let it bake. We're going to come back to it, work on the rest of the cloth. While I'm doing bakes, we'll, just keep working with this hair. That's the biggest thing with hair that I've kind of discovered in my limited experience with Houdini. There isn't quite as much setup involved, right? You just have to define your guides. define your scalp. I'm going to set the head as a collision bound when I actually start to simulate it. Everything else, it's really more just like getting the right rest look, just playing with it, styling it, getting it to look how it should. I don't really have a style guide. I mean, the most style guide that I have is, whoops, um, this, but I wasn't actually gonna like go for a look like that. I was probably just gonna do whatever. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna log off. Look forward to seeing you guys at 9 o'clock Eastern Time later tonight, where we'll just keep working with our hair and our cloth. Thanks, guys, so much for logging in. You all have a wonderful night.